Hey guys, it's your boy Prime, the P, and Easy Peasy.
Hey guys, it's Zen, the Z and PZ.
So thank you for tuning in. You're awesome. Let me get a round of applause for everybody. There you go. So this week, we're actually gonna be doing something completely different from what we usually do. We're actually gonna be talking about some of the news that's been happening for the past couple weeks that we just found very interesting, did some research on, and we just wanted to sit here and discuss it. So you can have the video up, you can watch it. There's going to be some images and articles being pulled up during the video, but if you're just chilling, maybe you're studying or doing an assignment, you can sort of just listen to it like it's a podcast. That's no problem. So without further ado, we're just going to get into the the meat and potatoes and jump right into the first topic. So first off, the Hub has actually decided to purge more than 70% of all of their videos from the site. Like, if you had something bookmarked or anything saved, you had a favorite video, it's gone. It's gone. If you went to the Hub,
All that premium content, just smack your meat too. It's gone.
Well, the premium content is still there if you're verified. It's like, but
if you're verified.
If you went there for like I don't know, like a dubbed hentai that was only on the Hub, that ain't there no more.
Okay, but obviously, some of the actual verified ones aren't that good. They look like, bricks.
Majority of the verified ones aren't good. Like, one thing I can fondly say is I never really watched any of the high production videos or the verified ones. Like, if any verified accounts that I watched were very specific and very niche, like couples or like a female star. But
I don't know, it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel real.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
You like the authenticity of, feeling like it's a realistic situation with real people and not like people pretending, like faking a circumstance. But so they purged everything, but honestly they did it for a very good reason because turns out what was it? A New York Times columnist, his name's Nicholas Kristof. He wrote a piece on them. Yeah, so the exact line is assaults of unconscious women and girls, including a naked video of a 14-year-old girl, were all uploaded to the site and everything like that. I actually heard of something similar. It was a video by some ordinary gamer, Mudahar, if you guys are aware of who that guy is. The video was referring to the Hub and talking about a lot of instances where they were doing stuff that was very sketchy. And there was a young woman.
There was actually one.
Yeah.
She was off of Yubo actually, and I knew she was like 14, and she obviously she was kind of dumb for doing it, but she showed the Yubo live, which is stupid. Somebody actually recorded it and put it on the Hub. So
I heard you had told me about that when it had happened. But stuff like that happens and it gets uploaded for hundreds of thousands, even millions of people to see and stuff like that, and it's underage. And the Hub, although they claim, which we'll discuss later on, that they have rules in place to prevent that, I don't know, it's not very something noticeable. But so that was brought up. I heard of an instance from Mudahar where he was pretty much discussing a woman who had been knocked unconscious and taken advantage of, and the video was recorded and uploaded to the Hub. And she went and actually reported the video and told them that video is of her and that she was being assaulted and that she would like that video to be taken down. The Hub never responded and ignored her actually for months and a very long time, until she pretended to be a lawyer who was taking legal action, and then the Hub moved with the most swiftest movements ever and took that video down just like that the same day. So although like a lot of people's favorite videos are gone, my favorite videos are gone, my recommended section is literally the Sahara Desert, and the Hub is actually moving to a paid membership now. I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you're trying to watch any content, the Hub's probably no longer going to be the place to go in order for you to get that free content any longer, as you'll only be able to watch the verified and model members of the channel, and a lot of those content creators on the Hub require that you actually pay in order to watch their videos to the full extent. So unless you're trying to scour the site and watch 15 second clips of trailers of the full video and then get it off to that, you're probably no longer going to really be able to go to the hub for general content. Like
OnlyFans is also an option. But it's
true.
only one specific person, then it's probably more.
Honestly, the hub wasn't all it anyways. There's a whole bunch of other sites. There's
X videos.
God,
why was that the first thing we said? Hentai. God, what is it?
What? We gotta. What? I'm appealing to my kind of demographic. I know I peep that sometimes. But anyways, moving on. I find it very interesting that they didn't do this purge because a woman came to them and explained to them what was going on. They didn't do the purge out of the kindness of their heart, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, I feel no sympathy for the hub as a business. I feel sympathy for maybe the workers who this may have negatively impacted, who are working for them, willingly. I may feel bad for those individuals, but the higher ups in the industry, I feel no sympathy for, because they didn't take any action to remove their videos until they had an expose written about them by the what is it called, the New York Times. And then on top of that, after that was written, literally Visa and MasterCard and a whole bunch of other large streams of income for their business decided to pull out. They didn't do anything until they started seriously losing money.
It's also one of those things where big businesses really don't care sometimes unless something serious is brought upon them. Yeah, say what you're saying. Because it's just like they're at the top. They don't care about people at the bottom of them, right? So most of the time they wouldn't care. But unless it's something really big, like what happened to them, they wouldn't do something so drastic. True. Mostly for the fact that you don't know how many people ask them for free things, how many people try to blackmail them, how many people do how many things to try to get either free things or to blackmail them for money or something like that.
Yeah, honestly, it's like, I feel like the reason why they didn't do anything is because their entire business is built off of people being able to easily access the hub, and upload a video. That video gets views, they get money. It's simple. Their whole business is built off that motto. So regardless of if it's an underage girl or it's an unconscious woman, if that video is getting views, that's money in their pocket. And if they just pretend that they're unaware of the situation, then it's not really we didn't know. And you can feign dumb for only so long before someone says something and then people get uproared. But this isn't anything new. What was new is the fact that other companies took action, which inevitably affected the pockets of the hub, and then the hub had to react accordingly. There's actually, like I mentioned earlier, over 70% of their videos, so they had 13.5 million videos taken down, and it was brought down to literally under 3 million videos on their site completely, which is astronomical. Content creators must become verified using the hub's process that involves uploading a picture of themselves with their username if you want to be able to upload videos. Now, if you want to view videos, you don't have to go through a verified process. Don't worry about that. A Canadian-based website actually made a comment, which I actually want to talk about, which was every piece of hub content is from verified uploaders, a requirement that platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and Twitter have yet to institute. So what they're saying is, now that the hub has taken this action and you're required to be verified to upload, every person who uploads from now on will be verified. And this person who wrote this article believes that every person who has a Facebook, a Instagram, a TikTok, a YouTube, a Snapchat, and a Twitter should have to literally verify their identity in order to have this.
What is the true verification process? Is it just upload a picture of yourself and then that's it?
So the hub's process, you upload a picture of yourself, put a username, and then you'd probably, if you want to get paid for the videos, they also have like the thing where you have to like put a certain code up with your name on it, and then obviously you record the adult video and then upload it. You submit it to them, and then you upload it to the site and stuff, and then they'll watch it. They're verified that it's actually you, blah 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 blah, and then you become like a member. I'm not too sure about the details, but when it comes to something like verifying this for like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, and Twitter, yeah, I'm pretty sure they would just mean that every person who's on there would have to reveal their true identity or something like that. Maybe have, you know how on Yubo they have the Yoti.
Yeah, but still, again, that really doesn't do anything if, the person in the video is underage, and it still gets uploaded because they can't tell which age she is.
But the catch is if someone does something and they upload it to their social media account, because you have to be verified in order to upload it, they will be able to then instantly know who the perpetrator is. So the action and the crime will be committed, but the person will then be capable of being punished accordingly, swiftly. But also on top of that, it would also deter people from uploading those videos or going and committing those crimes to upload those videos for profit, as they know they would instantly get caught afterwards. But I disagree with it in the sense like that does work, but it's a conflict of interest in the sense of a lot of you already lose a lot of privacy when it comes to social media. Like, don't get it twisted. If you have a Facebook and you think that Facebook doesn't know who you are, Facebook knows who you are. So does Snapchat and Instagram and Twitter. All these places know who you are.
As long as we don't want to accept it, but obviously we know they're probably looking at us through our phones.
They're listening. They're watching everything we're doing. They're collecting our data.
You think that ad you were talking about just randomly showed up on your phone? Nah. They're listening.
So the person made a very interesting point, but I don't know. I find it very head turning. I'm not sure how something like, let's say, YouTube would be able to do that, or Instagram, in the sense of like, there's a lot of artists who like to keep their identity a secret, and in that case, would they therefore be allowed to upload on the platform without verifying their identity to the public? Or would they have to trust, like, and let's keep it to the instance of YouTube, would they have to trust that their YouTube agent would be able to keep their identity a secret as long as they just verify with that YouTube agent alone, so that YouTube agent knows who they are? Because it's like, you can't really trust them to that extent, like you tell your YouTube agent and then something could happen, and then now everybody knows your real identity, and now something that you've been keeping a secret for so long on the platform is now on everybody's display due to the carelessness of one individual who you would have never shared it with prior. So I feel like it's an interesting take, and especially an interesting take considering what it's trying to combat, which is, the harm of underage girls and on consensual girls and these kinds of circumstances. But I feel like it raises the broader issue of how far do we go to prevent crimes before it becomes a conflict towards privacy. So that's something. So yeah, the MasterCards, Visa, Discover all terminated, and that's why the hub reacted accordingly. This is what they had to say in response. So they said that they deny the assertion that it allows child abuse material on its platform, and their quote is, "It's irresponsible and flagrantly untrue." Flagrantly untrue. And then they also say, "We have zero tolerance for CSAM, which is child sex abuse material. The hub is unequivocally committed to combating CSAM and has instituted an industry-leading trust and safety policy to identify and eradicate illegal material from our community." And that's what they had said. In another article, they also had said another quote. Okay, so they said that they had also said that the third-party Internet Watch Foundation reported 118 incidents of child assault abuse material on the company's site over the past 3 years, adding that Facebook self-reported 84 million instances over the same time frame. And they said their last quote is, "It is clear that the hub is being targeted not because of our policies and how we compare to our peers, but because we are an adult content platform." And that's the last thing they really had to pretty much say on the situation. And as we know, they purged all the over 70% of the content off their page. And long story short is, if that's where you went to for your content, you're gonna have to make the move to somewhere else. But yeah, that's the wrap up of that conversation. What do you think? Is there anything you want to add?
Honestly, because nothing is really gonna change about the hub. This is something we can all learn from, but we're obviously not gonna learn from it because most of the people don't take lessons well. So we gotta try to learn from it and try to, think about what we watch. Yeah, but I have a really, really serious topic I want to get on.
Okay, yeah, but one last thing, I just wanted to add one more input. I feel like as a whole, the hub has been so severely impacted by this decision by the higher ups to remove all these videos that it will change the foundation of how their structure and how their business works from this day forward. However,
they're probably gonna get less income.
Do I think that it's going to completely solve the issue of human trafficking, female assaults, underage girls being taken advantage of and having videos uploaded to the site? Sadly, I do not, because there are multitudes of other sites apart from the hub, or ironically owned by the hub, that people are unaware of, that literally have the exact same systems in place, where you can simply just make an account like it's a Gmail and then upload a video without any verification process. As people like to point to the hub as the source of the problem, when there are literally hundreds, probably even thousands of other adult sites that garner revenue from the exact same things. And I could probably spend an hour finding a whole bunch of sites that a lot of us have never even heard of before, but they have the exact same process. You go, you put your email and your password, account created, and you can instantly upload just like that. So yeah, this is a dub in the eyes of those who it's negatively impacted. This is a definite dub moving forward, and this will negatively impact the business model of the hub, and they will probably
But they just might be somewhere else.
Yeah, and they'll definitely lose a large sum of money, but all that's going to do is just have all that profit that the hub could have been making. Now it's just going to be moved to another adult site that you're not really aware of. So that's all I wanted to add at the end of it. It's just something to think about, something to consider. We like to think that there's only one source of a problem, but I beg you to be a little more skeptical of the situation and keep an open mind to the possibility that this might not change anything at all. All this will do is just cause one horrible company to lose a lot of money, and there's a lot of other companies out there who are taking advantage of this situation, and they're just going to be making more money since the hub ain't making it no more. So that's the last I want to talk about that. Let's take a little breather. This is a little something more related to gaming and not so dark, I guess we could say. It's about the Cyberpunk 2077 and how disastrous that has been. They released the game and it just doesn't run at all on consoles. Even if you have a PS4 Pro, it doesn't run at all. PS5 is barely coming in clutch, crashing constantly. The PC, even people with high-end PCs, this means like thousands upon thousands of dollars gone into their equipment and their setup. Even they are suffering glitches and crashes. This game came out an complete mess. So I want to start off by bringing up a Twitter post that Cyberpunk 2077 had posted on the 14th. So yesterday around 2:47 a.m. Honestly, it's like if you've made it this far into the video, you've probably already heard about this, but there was just a couple things that I want to go into detail about. So let me just read out this it's an apology letter. It should be up on the screen right now. So it's pretty hefty, but I'm just gonna read it out because I know Zen hasn't seen it. Alright, so it goes: Dear gamers, first of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more, as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we'll continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with patch number 1 in January. This will be followed by patch number 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We will be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of their release. They won't make the game on last gen look like it's running on high-spec PC or next-gen console, but it will be closer to that experience than it is now. Finally, we would also like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance, but if you are not pleased with the game on your console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy for copies purchased digitally. Please use the refund system on PSN or Xbox, respectively. For boxed versions, please first try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact us at helpmerefund@cdprojectred.com, and we will do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us for a week up until December 21st, 2020. Humbly, and that is all the executives and everybody involved in the game. PC gamers will also be getting regular updates and fixes improving the game. So that's the apology that they uploaded, and they pretty much in a way acknowledge everything that had happened and the negatives of the game's release. I feel like, before I get into some other things, I feel like it's very strange that very few people are actually that like uproared and really like upset about it, in the sense of like yeah, you go to their page, like their review page on Gamerscore and stuff like that, and it's like the user rating is low, but like when you go to like a Twitter thread or a lot of forums and talk to a lot of people who, especially when a console person is complaining about it, a lot of people like to blame the console player and be like, oh, you know, why would you try and play the game on last gen consoles when this is a next gen game, blah 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 blah, this, you're stupid, that. And I just find it very interesting how people are like white knighting the living hell out of CD Projekt Red. Like it's kind of funny to me, because had this been any other gaming company, Lord knows everybody would be dogging on them. But because it's Cyberpunk 2077 and because it's CD Projekt Red, everybody, like, there's a few people who are uproar, there's a lot of people who are uproar, but you still come across those people who are trying to defend it and actually attack the people who are upset. Like, CD Projekt Red didn't just release a game that shouldn't have been released on PS4 or Xbox One. I humbly believe it should not have been released on these consoles, but they released it anyways because they saw the money signs, even though the game was, not only was the game on ready, the game is incapable of properly running on these last gen consoles. We are talking about a game that literally loads an entire city with no loading screens, no nothing. All the assets are loaded up with astronomical graphics, all these animations, all these new things that these consoles have been out for over 7 years, and they were building this game PC first and then working their way down to last gen consoles. It just doesn't make sense. So I like to bring up an example. One of the examples is Mass Effect Andromeda. And Mass Effect Andromeda, when that game released, that game was a buggy mess. The equivalent of how Cyberpunk 2077 state is now. In fact, I would argue that Cyberpunk 2077 is actually worse right now. But the reaction to Cyberpunk and the reaction to Mass Effect are very different. A lot of people were just straight up blatantly pissed off. The vast community band together and like tore the BioWare a new one. But Cyberpunk 2077 comes out and it's like we're divided as a gaming community for some reason, even though it should be blatantly obvious that what what CD Projekt Red did is wrong. And I don't want to get too much into crunch because that's a whole different topic on its own. But the fact that they blatantly on purpose didn't reveal any base last gen console footage during the reveal, that one should have been a red flag. And then the CEO of the company even said, oh yeah, the game runs amazing on last gen consoles. Stop the cap. Now you're lying to us too. You're releasing us an unfinished game. You're lying to us, and you're trying to milk a little extra money out of us. And then, before I start, you still here? You still alive?
Yes, I'm still alive. Obviously, I ain't got as much to say about it as you do, because I'm a sports person.
Yeah. So
I play like basketball and all that. Like, obviously, I like GTA, and I'm assuming it's kind of like GTA, right?
Yeah, in a sense, a lot of people were looking at it as it was gonna be the next GTA, which God no, and it's like it's its own thing, anyways. But yeah. So in the apology, right? How I mentioned that they offered everybody refunds. Guess what? It turns out it ain't that easy, Chief. So, in an article on The Verge, the title reads, "It's not as easy to get a Cyberpunk 2077 refund as CD Projekt Red suggested." So, in this article, they pretty much discuss that CD Projekt Red and Microsoft and Sony, they don't really have the same policies when it comes to returns and refunds, when it comes to like digital purchases and stuff like that. And CD Projekt Red and Microsoft and Sony, they don't have like an agreement based on those refunds. And one thing I like to point out, people should already know this, but in case you don't know this, if you bought Cyberpunk 2077 on the PlayStation Store, or you plan to buy it and you buy it, right, and you return it, Sony's losing money along with this. You know, like it's not just if the money's coming out and going back into CD Projekt Red's hands and whatnot. It's like if you return a game that you bought from the PlayStation Store, Sony's losing money, and thus the same thing for Microsoft. And they all have their own policies in place on how digital refunds work. So I find it very funny that CD Projekt Red just came out and said, "Oh yeah, refund," and then it's like Sony and Microsoft are kind of just looking at CD Projekt Red like, excuse me, like you messed
It's kind
up.
of the same thing as like if I bought a game from a certain like vendor, he's losing the money, not them.
Right? Yeah.
It's very confusing because you're saying, you know what, just return it, guys. Just return it. It doesn't matter. Just return it. You get your money back. Wait. We're not losing the money though. It's not us. We don't care. You guys are losing the money. We don't care.
It's like, so it's kind of pretty interesting. But so it's like if you try to, like, the Microsoft and Sony refund policies are different. So it's like there's a chance, because the way Sony's works, because we play on PlayStation, so I'm a little more educated on that one. But the way Sony's works is you can return a game digitally if you never installed it and never played it. So if you bought it, but you didn't open it once, you can return the game digitally. Boom, done. No one, or at least 99.9% of people who are returning their Cyberpunk 2077 digital copy did not play the game. If they are returning it, it's because they played the game, saw that their copy was glitchy, buggy, and incapable of working on their PlayStation, and thus they're trying to return it. But the way Sony works is you have to have not played it in order for you to get your money back. And they'll give some people a return if they have opened it, but you have to have played it within like a limited time frame. So I feel like the vast majority of people who already tried to like brute force a good 5 to 6 hours into the game before they just got really pissed off and fed up with all the bugs and glitches, you're probably not really gonna be able to get a digital refund. So that's very that's interesting, and I hope the best for those of you who got a digital copy. Hopefully you'll be able to resolve that issue. If there's anybody who has played the game for an extensive amount of time and then they were able to get a refund with no problems, please let me know down below. But if you have something interesting to share about your Cyberpunk experience or any glitches or anything like that, also, talk to us down below.
I don't know, I'm not educated on it, but like, I like you guys to educate me some more, because it's not really my forte. It might be Shadow's forte, but it ain't mine. So
yeah, honestly, it's like I feel like everybody put Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red in general on like a very high pedestal because of the games that they released, which was like the Witcher series. I don't know if you're aware of that series. You should look into it, but they released the series of games that were held to a very high standard, and they delivered, and they're very good games, and a lot of people like how they handled the Witcher series. And Cyberpunk has been in the work for over 8 years now. That's like 8 years ago when it was like, I believe it was like very, 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 very first announced or like teased or discussed by CD Projekt Red. And we've been waiting years and years and years for this game, and it finally came out. But I feel like not enough people are sort of upset like they should be. Like, I'm not saying attack CD Projekt Red. I am not saying that. Do not. Disclaimer, don't attack Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red. Don't DM them death threats.
Don't do it.
You're a literal piece of doo-doo on my boot if you DM the executives at CD Projekt Red death threats.
Don't wake up and choose violence. It's not good for you.
Or
don't do
anything like that. I really don't condone it, and it's not something you should be doing. It's not going to change nothing, and if anything, it's just going to make them hate the consumers and therefore make worse decisions or something like that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Is they released an apology, and the game hopefully will get better, but I just feel like a lot of people aren't upset. A lot of people are trying to defend the game, even though it's a broken game that isn't playable. And these are the same people who are probably uproared about the way Andromeda came out. And Andromeda works perfectly now. There are literally no bugs anymore. There are some, you know what I mean? But compared to the state that the game was released in, this game is actually playable now, and you can actually enjoy it from beginning, middle to end. Is it a good game? That's the different conversation, but it is a game that you can play. Is Cyberpunk 2077 so lucky? I think not, and we'll discuss. We'll talk more about it in the months to come to see how it ends up turning out after these patches. But the first patch, a lot of people were not so happy about. A lot of people were saying that the first patch made the game worse and made it even have more glitches, more bugs, and everything like that. A lot of people who weren't having glitches before then began to start having glitches due to the first patch, so that's definitely interesting. Anything you'd like to add, Zen, before we move on to the next topic? The next and last topic?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, alright, so the next topic and the last topic of the day, we're gonna move right back into some of that heavy stuff. This one's a little closer to home for me, not so much for Zen. Zen doesn't really associate too close to home with this discussion, but this one definitely has a more closer impact, not only because of the person who's involved in the drama, but also due to the content involved. Not all of it, but some of the things involved I can in a way relate to. So I felt like it was worth being something, I felt like it was worth discussing and bringing awareness to. As the saying goes, never meet your heroes. This individual was definitely someone who I strongly looked up to as an individual, and he starred in a movie that inspired me to pursue the sort of creative outlets that, I still do to this day, writing and stuff like that. That movie is Transformers 1, and we are talking about Shia Labeouf. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know about this drama by now. It's not completely new, and it's been out for the past couple of days now. But I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to share my insight on it. I'm sure, although Zen's not too close to the topic due to the content we're discussing, he'd probably have some just general insight to share. So we're talking about FK Twigs and her relationship with Shia LaBeouf, and her alleged claims towards him, the abuse, the manipulation, and there's some other artists that he had dated in the past who also have come out and made a few comments, and he also made a few comments in return as well. And I want to discuss not only that, but I also wanted to talk about a couple of things from his upbringing, not go into too much detail, but just get over some of the general hurdles and struggles he had to go through as a child. And I want to make it very, very clear, he had been through a lot through his upbringing, but in no way, shape, or form does it justify any actions that he may have done. I like to say these are alleged claims by these women. He does not deny these claims. He does deny a few of them, but he doesn't specify which ones he is denying, which we will discuss later on. But these are all alleged claims, so I'm not going to go out of my way and say, oh yeah, he did this, he did that. These are alleged claims. He doesn't specify which ones he denies, but he doesn't go out of his way to outright say that these are blatant lies. So regardless, this is a pretty heavy topic, so let's get this started. So I want to sort of start off with the general consensus thesis of what is going on with the whole FKA Twigs. So she came out and pretty much said that he was very abusive in their relationship, had assaulted her on several occasions, and was very manipulative in the relationship. Also, artist that he had dated in the past, Shia, everybody knows who Shia is. You know, chandeliers, everybody knows who that is. She had also said that he had conned her into an adulterous relationship and was also manipulative. So there's some consistency in these stories and these claims. So that's definitely something to look out for. So a lawsuit was filed. Shia was brought to court, and there was some very interesting things brought up. He was accused of sexual abuse and assault, and she even went as far as to allegedly claim that he had given her an STD, well aware that he had it, and purposefully had transmitted it to her. A quote from her, word for word, is, "What I went through with Shia was the worst thing I've ever been through in the whole of my life." So definitely some tough stuff she's been through in regards to that relationship. In this article that I'm glossing over, I've already read it. They pretty much discuss a lot of the relationships that he's been in the past. Him dating Mia Goth, who he had supposedly gotten married to, but they never filed their marriage documents or some sort of thing like that, even though there was a divorce filing. So I'm not too sure how you don't get your marriage documents completed, but you get divorced. I'm not too sure how that works, but that's what the article says. But yeah, so there's a lot, like talks about the assault. It doesn't go into too much detail about specific things. It's definitely, for me anyways, it was a tough read, not just because it was like watching the statue of one of your idols being torn down, but it was also just from the perspective of these females and what they've been through. Is I feel a deep sense of sorrow for them. And
hey guys, look. I just want to pitch in and say, I've never been one to really have a heart at times, but whenever something like this comes up, it hurts. It hurts because it impacts all men. It doesn't just impact him, it impacts all men. because women look at us differently. And it really doesn't make you a man to abuse a female. Obviously, some of them are not as strong as us. Obviously, some of them are not as, loud as us. Or, how do I say this? They don't talk as much as us. They're not as assertive as us.
Yeah,
so it's very easy to take advantage of them. It's not good. It's not good to do. It doesn't make you a man. It makes you...
It makes you less than
human. It makes you scum.
It makes you pretty much like a piece of shit. It's like... That's the most blatant way you can put it. These claims, they are alleged, but... Let's sort of be real here.
I wasn't even speaking on him. I'm speaking
I know.
in general.
You're speaking in general, but even then, in general, doing these kinds of things, it makes you a piece of shit. It's simple. It's as simple as that. There's no justifying your actions, no matter how traumatic of a childhood you had growing up. It doesn't make what you did okay. And it kind of just makes you as bad.
I understand.
It just makes you as bad as the people who harmed you as a child or traumatized you as a child, because you're letting out all of that inner rage out on someone who is there for you and is caring about you. So, yeah. So
it's kind of totally understandable. Childhood trauma. It's understandable. Everybody has it. Maybe not everyone, but some people have it. I've had it. And I don't go projecting my anger on people, because that's not right. That's not right, because they didn't do anything to hurt me.
I'm not saying what he did was justified, but he has a very unique circumstance when it comes to what he had gone through as a child, and it definitely led to a lot of mental issues that he had to go through. He has to still go through. He's still continuing to go through them, and in the sense of what he's going through mentally in regards to what he went through as a child, that makes sense. Now, in a sense of what he did with that anger and that frustration to some of these women, does not make sense, and I cannot stand for it.
That still doesn't matter, to be honest.
It doesn't.
We grow as people. We grow as people. We don't go backwards. We go forward.
Yeah,
we don't take what affected us in the past and bring it with us.
I feel like that's easy.
We leave it in the past for a reason. It's easier said than done, obviously.
I feel like that is easy to say when you have not been through what he's been through. Like I've repeated constantly, no, what he does, what he's been through doesn't justify what he's done. But I would like
allegedly.
I would like to point out that it is easy to say, oh, what you did was wrong and you shouldn't have done that, if you haven't experienced everything that he has been through physically and mentally. Now, what he did was wrong. He shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? But I'm trying not too hard.
It's also one of those things where perspective is in play. From his perspective, what he's allegedly done probably seemed like nothing bad, or not something as bad as he thought. But in our perspective, obviously he looked like shit. He looks like the scum of the earth.
Maybe,
but
I'm not.
It's just a perspective thing.
We can never truly know what was going on in his head when he decided to make those alleged actions. But regardless, what he did was wrong. And I wanted to get into some of the things that we've been alluding, which is the things that he's been through as a child. I wanted to sort of give a brief sort of rundown of a few of the things that he's been through, he's witnessed, his family has been through in general, blah 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 blah. So first of all, I feel like people don't really discuss the fact that being a childhood actor is sort of just like the stepping stone to like having a horrible outlook on life when you become an adult. But yes, Shia LaBeouf was a childhood actor. He's been on the scene for a very, very long time, so I want to point that out. But something that a lot of things he went through. He was raised by his mother and father for a period of time. His mother is the parent who he's the closest to. His father was not too sure how he's doing now, but during Shia's upbringing, he was an alcoholic and he was a heroin addict and was doing a lot of drugs, and it led to a lot of mishaps between Shia and his father. Shia's father and mother did end up splitting at some point, and they were living in a beat-down motel. He had witnessed his mother being taken advantage of, being assaulted. He had heard it, and by the time he came to really act, it was kind of too late. He was too young to have been capable of doing anything, but despite that, for the majority of his life, he still blames himself for what had happened that night and wishes that he was there to have defended his mother, and thus that had led to him pretty much spiraling, along with the abuse he went through with his father and a whole bunch of other things. It kind of just led to a very, very deep spiral out of control, and he has a lot of pent-up anger, a lot of pent-up rage, and thus is what sort of led to a lot of the allegations of the actions he committed within his relationships and stuff like that. But yeah, he had a really rough childhood. Not the best of things. He had been arrested several times, caught by the police several times. It's only now that this has really been made like a super, super big thing, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's he had also at one point claimed that he was assaulted physically by a woman who had taken advantage of him. He had claimed that. No one really. I remember that. I remember watching the video. I remember watching him talk about it. No one took that seriously. I'm gonna be completely honest. I took that very seriously. When I heard about that, I took that very seriously, and I remember being angry. I remember everybody being super duper duper skeptical about it, and then it kind of just ended up dying out, because the second people stopped talking about it, it no longer became a topic worth discussing, I guess. But I remember being very angry, because even at those times, which I believe it was a few years ago, even in those times, people, if a female came out and said that she was assaulted, everybody would instantly believe her. But a man comes out and says that he was assaulted, and no one was taking him seriously. So I remember being very angry about that. He's been arrested a few times. He even talks about how if he has an emotional character to play, he'll sometimes actually purposefully call his father to have a conversation, as it brews up inner rage and emotion, so that way he can, deliver his role better. But yeah, he had a very, very, very rough childhood, a very rough upbringing, and like I said before, it doesn't justify what he did, but he has been through a lot. I want to bring that a little full circle back to a couple points that I brought up earlier. One was it kind of relates to me in the sense of as a child, for me personally, I was never really physically abused myself. I had gone through some mental abuse, and I also had witnessed one of my mother's partners at the time abuse her, and I have gone through that mental spiral of wishing that I had been more involved in defending my mother and stuff like that. So not in the exact way, but in some ways I can sort of relate to some of the points within his story, which is why I have constantly prefaced that it does not justify what he had his alleged actions. It just doesn't justify it, because there's no way in hell I would ever do that. Whether I'm dating them, whether it's a random female on the street, hell, if it's a guy, I'm just not going to be doing that kind of stuff. So I want to bring that full circle to how it related to me, and then I want to just bring it back to the point about the STD So FKA Twigs had said that Shia LaBeouf had strangled her and deliberately infected her with an STD. It was also shrugged off by, I believe, Shia LaBeouf's representative lawyer, who had said the STD that he had given her was not that serious, which just blew me the hell away when I had heard about that one. And then another woman that he had dated, a woman named Carolyn Foe, had claimed that he pinned her to the bed while drunk and headbutted her until she bled. So that was the one that I was talking about earlier. And then Sia, this is a quote from Sia, what she had said when she had talked about the topic when she had dated Shia LaBeouf for a period of time. She said, "I too have been hurt emotionally by Shia, a pathological liar who conned me into an adulterous relationship claiming to be single. I believe he's very sick and have compassion for him and his victims. And I have compassion for him and his victims." Yeah. So that's the quote that Sia had shared. And to sort of like wrap up the discussion, if you have anything you want to add, then you can add it after I say this. But Shia had said this afterwards. He said, "I have been abusive to myself and everyone around me for years. I have a history of hurting the people closest to me. I'm ashamed of that history, and I'm sorry to those I hurt." He then added, "I am not cured of my PTSD and alcoholism, but I am committed to doing what I need to do to recover, and I will be forever sorry to the people that may have harmed along the way." So that, in a way, is Shia pretty much admitting to his guilt, but like I said earlier, I want to bring full circle. He also had said in another email, many of the allegations were not true, but then he explained the opportunity. He owed the women the opportunity to air their statements publicly and accept accountability for those things I have done. So, yeah. So he's saying that there are a few accusations that are untrue. Doesn't specify which ones are untrue, but he does say that he acknowledges that he had to give the women that he had harmed their space to breathe and release their statements publicly and take accountability for the things that he has done. So that's why I said alleged for a lot of the points, because he doesn't really specify which ones are true and which ones are false.
But
he
honestly,
does, in a way,
if you wanted to accept it, okay, sorry, but like, if you wanted to accept what he did, he would have said it. He's just saying it very it's not even like he's giving specific examples or anything. He's saying it very blatantly. He's just saying, like, it's just like, if I take something from you, it's like, I'm not admitting to it, but I'm like, oh yeah, sorry you lost your thing. Like,
I guess, but he does in a way admit to what he did,
Yes, he does in a way.
But what, like, he doesn't. For me, his statement is enough for me to say he did the vast majority of the things he was accused of. I feel like what goes backwards isn't him coming out and saying he apologizes. It's when he makes the statement that many of the accusations are untrue. That's when it goes backwards, because he doesn't specify which ones are untrue. So I'm just left to guess and assume. So for me, I feel like until he specifies which ones are untrue, he's pretty much done everything that was stated. Simple. That's the way I look at it. Like, he said his statement at the bottom. I'll read it again. Hold on. Let me scroll down. Okay, "I have been abusive to myself and everyone around me for years." That line right there, boom. That line right there, I feel like turns the alleged to no longer alleged, it's true. Now, it makes me sort of tilt my head when he goes back on what his statement sort of says. He says many of the statements are untrue, or many of the accusations are untrue, but until he comes out and specifically starts nitpicking and pointing out which ones are untrue, I'm just going to assume that all of them are true. Which is, I just wanted to discuss this. I want to raise awareness towards it. It's very sad thing to see. You know, so I just wanted to raise awareness towards it, and maybe get people talking about it down below and whatnot. But yeah, it's a very sad thing, and my sympathies towards the women who were harmed and abused mentally and physically within these relationships, and I hope that they are okay and that they're seeking the help that they need in order to get better. And the same thing for Shia. I really do hope that he's staying true to his statement and he is getting the psychiatric help that he needs in order to get well and get better, and thus this will, you know, in a way allow, if he does get in any future relationships, that person does not have to fear for their safety physically or mentally. So that's pretty much where I wanna wrap up on that discussion. That is the last discussion we have for the day. If there's anything you want to add, Zen, before I wrap up.
Sorry, I was just contemplating, man.
What?
Music is powerful, man.
No, because that's a different breed of...
It makes anyone want to get up.
That's
What?
just, wow.
Gotta get a pump and pump.
That's just a lot.
Boom, 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 boom.
That is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sad thing, and
I honestly feel it for anyone who has been abused, who's still being abused.
And I'm gonna be putting some I'll put some stuff in the description down below. If you are in a circumstance where you're in an unhealthy relationship, or you are being abused by a loved one, whether it's your partner, brother, sister, father, family member, anything like that, you can reach out to these phone lines, go to this website, and seek help and get the support that you need. If you are someone who is going through any sort of trauma or unwellness, I will also put some links and some phone numbers to call in the description down below for you to reach out to, because it is not good to let those things just sit and fester. If you need someone to talk to, you should talk to someone, in the off chance that not only do you harm someone else, but hopefully maybe you might end up harming yourself as well. If you are comfortable sharing your story down below, you don't need to attach your name, you can keep it very brief and anonymous. Me or Zen will make sure we address ourselves at the beginning of our response. We'll willingly have a conversation with you, talk with you. If you feel like the comment section is not the best place for it, we do have our social handles. If you follow us there, you can DM us, and we will try our best to have a conversation and help you through your tough times. But I would strongly suggest that you seek professional help, as we're not professionals, and we do know how to have a conversation. We do know how to share our advice from our perspectives, but for your best interest, never meet your heroes. Get the professional help. If it helps to open up to us first, sure, and we'll try our best to get to you and have a conversation with you, but don't rely on us. Just get the professional help if it is needed. That would be in your best interest. I do want to continue the discussion about meeting your heroes in the next video. Not the next video, but the next time we do have a discussion video like this. I want to talk about another person who I had looked up to at one point. His name is Michael Bay. And he was also involved in one of my most favorite films of all time, Transformers, which has inspired me to do a lot of the things that I do to this day. And just goes off of the thesis again of never meet your heroes, and just discuss the kind of person that Michael Bay is. I'm not too educated. I do know a lot of the things that a lot of the allegations and stuff in his regards, but not too educated on it, so I'll do the research for it before that video does come. But that is definitely something I want to discuss. I want to say thank you very much, and I am blown away if you have made it to this point in the video. If you have been able to tank through this entire discussion with the utmost interest, wow. Why haven't you hit the subscribe button yet? Please like the video, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you get notified when we upload a new video. The comment section is open to all. And we will see you in the next video. Peace.
Alright, well, later, guys.